Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Tahona Society cohort. We're doing pouring positivity, transforming the bar scene with impactful initiatives. My name is Jen Oakley. I am the Agave ambassador for Pernod Ricard. We have a great team joining us today. First up, we have Dre Masso. He's the co-creator of House of Tequila. He's also the head of bar innovation and creation for Potato Head Hotels and Beach Club Bali. We also have Carlos Ramirez, who's the global director of advocacy and PR at Pernod Ricard. We also have Valerie Kramis Hollins, who's the strategy design director at Agenda 28. And last but not least, we have Jenny Teasdale from Green Apple and Blue Apple Beach, where she is the director at Green Apple and head of impact and sustainability at Blue Apple. So today, this session is a part of Portland Cocktail Week's intensive cohort designed to equip students with the tools to get their ethical businesses off the ground. 50 bar professionals were selected for the cohort. Well, they'll join us for public classes like this one and private classes led by the brightest minds in the sustainability and entrepreneurship space from the hospitality industry for 5 weeks. All of these classes are leading up to the Altos Tahona Society 2025 global competition in September, where the U.S. finalists will have a shot at winning a $50,000 grant. In today's class, Dre, Carlos, and Valerie are going to share how the House of Tequila team works to improve the industry and give something positive back to the bar community through Tahona Society, and how you can submit your ethical business idea for a chance to compete in the global finals in Mexico, where a $50,000 grant will be up for grabs. And Jenny is going to share her journey as Tahona Society global champion and how her winning project, Green Apple, has positively impacted the community. So before we get started, there are a few things that we want to ask the fans of this account to do. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram. All of these banners are coming up for you. And please comment below and ask questions, especially if you are one of our 50 cohort students. Your comments and questions are how we know to mark you as present. Also, head over to tahonasociety.com to sign up for the brand new Tahona Society app. You'll find expert talks, networking spaces, and other sustainability resources there. And you know what else is on the app? The Tahona Society competition submission form. So go download the app ASAP. So introductions are over. We are going to get into it. I am going to pass it over to start to Dre, Carlos, also known as Cha. You can see on your screen, and Valerie.
Cool. Thanks, Jen. Welcome, everyone. I am currently at the airport about to embark on another journey to another part of the world. So excuse me, please, if there's some weird noises in the background. It's going to happen at some point. But yeah, I'm Dre, and let me just put this whole project into context and go back to 2009. I was very lucky to be part of a team that put together, created, founded and launched Altos Tequila. This was done as a bartender and distiller collaboration with Pernod Ricard as the umbrella company, really allowing us to do this with a big vision and open mind to say, okay, let's allow a few bartenders to come into not only the tasting panel but also the direction of the brand. With Altos, we saw a gap in the market where we were missing a really good quality 100% agave tequila that we could use to put into cocktails. So in short, that's what we did. It's a product. It's a tequila that was created by bartenders. That's one of the noises there. For the bartending community, but I think beyond that, it's now reached the hearts and souls of connoisseurs and consumers that also enjoy good tequila and good tequila cocktails. The year that we launched Altos, 2009, we also launched something called the Tahona Society. We saw this as an opportunity to share some of the information that we, and when I say we, this was something that was put together with a couple of friends and partners. Henry Besson was super key in the mix, and also we enlisted a bartender called Charles Bextonat, who at the time was, I think, probably in my eyes, the best bartender that we had certainly worked and collaborated with. And he did a lot of research. That research was on kind of everything agave and Mexican culture, all different production methods. And parallel with launching Altos, we launched this training program. We thought this was beneficial because there was a lot of misinformation out there. The internet wasn't what it was today, and there wasn't this wonderful array of cocktail and distilled spirit books. And we were being told a lot of incorrect information, but from visiting different distilleries, speaking to the producers and the families, we kind of gathered all of the right information, and we thought that was the opportunity to share this information. So launch a brand, launch a training platform, and that was our strategy, going around the world and spreading the love of everything tequila and agave. Um, Shortly after that, because we love cocktails, we said let's do a cocktail competition focused on the margarita. It was very easy in its kind of early stages. We were asking bartenders to come up with a margarita that really kind of showed where they came from. So something very national, if you like, a signature cocktail that would really tell the rest of the world, who they were about. And that was a wonderful cocktail competition. We had a lot of fun with that. I think it was one of the earliest margarita competitions that we had certainly seen on a global scale. And then each year we decided to improve and grow in some way. We looked at different, I don't want to say trends, different movements that were happening within the food and beverage industries. We looked at the slow food movement and how we kind of could factor in a cocktail style that paired with the philosophies that we were seeing in the kitchen. We looked at the food truck movement that was booming all over the world, and how we could factor in this kind of takeaway um, style and approach. And we very, very quickly got to, and I'd say this was around 2015, we were kind of full steam ahead with a word that has become more commonly used in industry, sustainability. So we were asking bartenders to come up with a kind of thoughtful, resourceful cocktail that demonstrated ways of being or behaving better, I guess, within the drink making side of things. So a sustainable cocktail, and we've now all, I think, so the industry's become pretty good at that style and approach, how to minimize waste, how to use ingredients more than one time, how to use every part of the raw material from root to flower, if you like, and yeah, so lots of interesting impacts there. Perhaps also supporting communities that are making products that go into your drink, perhaps honeys or different sugars, or working with different farms. A wonderful project, but we realised pretty quickly that there was an irony to this sustainable cocktail competition. One that, yes, we were inviting guests to travel and be part of this cocktail competition, but I think even more so, deeper than that, is that, as many of you may know, when you create a cocktail for a competition, it's done in a certain way, particularly to tell a story. You're kind of overdoing it to a certain degree so that it stands out and it has this amazing message, which I love. But with so many cocktail competitions, that cocktail that wins, and there's only one winner, is never seen again. If you look at the word sustainability, it's all about enduring and lasting for as long as possible. And really, we were doing the opposite of that. So behind the scenes, with the encouragement of Carlos and his team of House of Tequila, and really linking back with something that my partner Henry Beston, who passed away in 2013, that was always keen to do, was about kind of educating and enhancing and improving the skills of people in our industry, of the bartenders. Something that he did was, with myself too, bring over young kids from Mexico and take them through a training period in London where they'd work in some of the venues that we worked with, and then their English improved, their skill set improved, and then go back home and also improve what was going on in their city, like Mexico City and Guadalajara. So we saw some great results. So that's very key for Henry, and I think we listened to some of his messages and his wishes. So when we discussed the new direction of the Tahona Society, we knew that it would somehow connect to improving our industry in some way, shape, or form. So We're going to go into some real details about how this project works, how to get involved if you're interested. It is a lot more complex than asking you for a cocktail recipe. That I'd say is pretty easy for a lot of bartenders, not everyone, but really to make a cocktail recipe, you look at something that you've seen before, extract, um, add, substitute, and you've got something new. And now with so much education about how to be more resourceful, it's a pretty straightforward request, I'd say. What we're asking you to do is come up with a new project, a new business, and that can be really daunting. And it shouldn't be so daunting. I think if I was to kind of simplify things, I would probably just say like, what's your dream, rather than kind of thinking too hard about creating something new from scratch. But what are you passionate about? And in a second, Carlos is going to take you through more the makeup of the project and show our first three finalists. But I wanted to, just from kind of my own experience, share some great examples that I've seen over the years that I've thought are really wonderful, aren't necessarily seen as a kind of black and white business per se, but I think they've been hugely successful. I want to start just by talking about a company that I've worked with since 2010, so since around the same time. I think they're the leaders, from what I've experienced in the world of hospitality when it comes to making a positive impact. The company, like the company that Jenny works for, with B Corp. We're considered a sustainable village with Potato Head Beach Club and hotels, and we have facilities on site to collect and then treat and turn all the plastic that's used, but also plastic that we collect on the beaches. All this kind of waste is turned into little chips, and then that's melted and it's turned into these wonderful, beautiful plastic sheets, which we then do things with. So a lot of the furniture within the hotel is made in house from plastic that would have normally been thrown away. And then pretty much anything that we can clean, treat, and reuse, we do. So whether that's oyster shells, that goes into making something else. Um, we encourage the staff to do the same, so they're educated on what they should be buying, meaning what kind of plastic containers their shampoo comes in, that kind of stuff, and they get rewarded based on what they bring it back into the business. We've gone so big now that we now have off-site facilities, and we've teamed up with a dozen different hospitality companies in the area where we are in Seminyak, Bali, so that they can do the same thing. So there's composting that goes in there, and also if you look at Potato Head in Bali, you'll see that they are lovers of art too. So it's not just about doing something that is great for the planet and really sensible and improving the behavior of our business, but they do it with style. So they create all this wonderful artwork that is now revered, and a lot of other people are coming to us to kind of get inspired. So I think that's a good example, and I like that because there's a really kind of beautiful aesthetic side to what they do. Um, but I want to next talk about something that's closer to your home. And this has been a case study and an example for us in the past. So Speed Rack. I think Speed Rack's now been going for more than 10 years. Pernod Ricard have been a great collaborator and sponsor. Altos in the past, certainly for many years, was a key tequila sponsor, and set up by two female bartenders, Lynette Monroe and Ivy Mix. Ivy tells the story of working in her late teens, 18, 19, in South America, traveling and working as a bartender, making cocktails. And after her travels, going back to New York and wanting to continue that now at the age of 21, legally old enough to make cocktails in the US. And the bar owners that she was speaking with were saying, "Oh, we have a position on the floor as a waiter, but you won't be doing the bar." Basically saying that's something that the guys do, and obviously that frustrated her. She'd been working for a few years as a cocktailier in these bars around South America, and was now suddenly challenged by bar owners who had really kind of separated the genders and their roles. So that got her thinking, and a conversation with Lynette came up with this idea to have something that was super high energy and fun. If you don't know, Speed Rack is this wonderful speed high energy cocktail competition for female bartenders, done in a really cool way. And yeah, I think they've raised more than $1 million now, so it's substantial. It's raised great awareness and some great money towards different charities, including female cancer projects. And I love so many aspects of that competition because it's globally recognized now. They've worked lots of different brands, and it's pretty much toured the world a few times with it. But making cocktails at speed is integral to what we do, and then making this competition that's incredibly fun and high energy, it gets everyone's attention, and it's raised a load of money in addition to the awareness. So I like to use that as an example because it's, as I said just a moment ago, it ain't the kind of obvious one that you might think of, and it could be that you come up with, an event or a festival or something that isn't kind of like an obvious business idea. And another one similar to that, a few months we've got Tales of the Cocktail in New Orleans. I was just in San Francisco the other week with Trick Dog, who do lots of great things, lots of great initiatives, but they started something called Pig and Punch. So if you've got the endurance to sustain all of Tales of the Cocktail on the very last day, in fact, it's the day after the last day on the Sunday, they host an event called Pig and Punch. So it's a ticketed event where there's great food, great music, and then different sponsors, different brands will sponsor alcohol, and different bars from around the world will set up shop to make their version of a unique punch. And they too, I think the last figure I saw, they have reached a total of something like $800,000 over about 10 years. And they do lots of great work with that money. More often than not, when they get to New Orleans, they're working with orphanages or schools, and they're doing some kind of painting or repair or building. Um, but also a large amount of that money goes to uh, fund as a grant for an underprivileged student. So another great initiative, which has been able to sustain for many years, raise lots of money, but it's a really cool project. It's fun. It's part of something that we do. Tales of the Cocktail is, I'd say, globally the most recognized cocktail event, exhibition, however you want to kind of phrase that. It's very significant. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it, and I'm so proud. I think this is the proudest thing that I've been a part of now more than 30 years in this wonderful industry. You're going to get a lot of help at every step of the way. We've got some more great examples um, to share with you. Um, I'd like to say, if anyone ever wants to reach out to me personally, you're welcome to do that. Um, and we're going to get to what happens. Carlos can also talk about this. Like, if you get to the finals, there's this life-changing week that is incredibly inspiring. I find it incredibly motivating too, from observing the different, and it really, when it comes to it, they're TED Talk like um, sessions and presentations from the different bartenders. I'm super impressed, and I go away from that week wanting to do more myself within the businesses that I'm involved with, whether that's consulting or different brands. So thank you for the team for allowing me still to be a part of it. I'll pass you over now to Carlos. We can talk in more detail about what we've been through. Thanks.
Thank you, Dre. And thank you, everyone, for joining us and giving us your time. I may use some slides to show you a little bit on where we are on the Tahona Society, although Dre already went a little bit on the history of the Tahona Society. So in the first slide, you'll see a little bit of that. what's the objective. Of course, I think we can jump that because Trey already went through that. But the nice thing is, or is for Altos Tequila at least, is to understand how can we support you guys. And it was super interesting actually to listen and co-work all of this with Trey, and at the beginning with Henry also, on understanding, okay, we have a community, we have a group of bartenders that are really close to the brand and share the same values of Altus. But then what are they getting from these cocktail competitions? There were 1,000 cocktail competitions, and although I'm sure all of you make some of the most beautiful creations with tequila and margaritas, I think that was pretty common, and a lot of cocktail competitions were going on at that time, on the industry. So if Brittany, you can help me with the next slide. So the first time, so in 2018, we did a stop, rethink on how could we make a difference for the industry. So we start discussing with different experts on S&R and sustainability and projects, and we're saying, okay, it would be super cool because traveling with Dre, with all of the team, we were seeing a lot of projects and ideas that were on the bartender's head, focusing on projects that were way beyond cocktails, and it was more about becoming entrepreneurs and needing this coaching, to becoming and to make the dreams a reality. And we started listening about projects, super different categories. No, they were more one. Some of them were more focused on flora and fauna. We're hearing about developing these beautiful gardens on the cities, on rooftops, projects involving bees and making your own honey. There were others thinking about recycling the water that was wasted in the bars. Other more focused on upcycling. Other projects were more involved in communities and helping communities. Others, more focused on mindfulness or mental health. So it was super interesting. There were a lot of things going on the heads of the bartenders. So we thought, okay, we know how to make tequila. We produce a beautiful tequila, but we're experts on this. So let's look for experts on these type of projects so we can actually be the bridge between the community and these experts that sometimes they're just far away from us because we don't work on that, because we are not part of those type of jobs, or it's not our, our close circle or network. So let's start building this network for them. Let's bring the best coaches, let's bring the best judges, and this is how this dream began. So the first year, I think, okay, when we did the cocktail competition and the event in Mexico, a lot of people were coming, a lot of the traditional trade media, that you guys know, a lot of bartenders and influencers of the industry were coming, having a super fun week in Mexico. Of course, we go to the distillery. Of course, you meet our master distiller. You get to see how we do altas and a lot of parties. And it was a cocktail competition. And at the end, we get an applause, an award, and that was it. Now, what happens in Mexico is the same. You still get a lot of fun, and you still see how our tequila is made, and meeting Jesus and the parties, etc. But now we take a little bit more time, just doing the final tweaks on your projects for you guys to do the final pitch in front of top judges in order to win this 50K. That's regarding the competition. Now, something very interesting is the first year we're having a lot of countries participating on the cocktail. We were thinking, are we? No, we didn't knew how many project submissions we were going to have. The first year we had actually more than 100. So actually people were thinking on that. A lot of people told us, I just have an idea. I really don't have my project laid out or very landed. And we were like, no worries. That's precisely why the coaching is about. So if you do your homework, if you really get into it, if you use correctly the tools we're giving you for free, some of those ideas, some of those it was just an idea, actually participated, and some of them win. So it was super interesting to see how everyone can actually, from an interesting or a good idea, if you do your homework, can actually this become a reality. um So that's from the competition. Now let's remember the Tahona Society community for altos is more than that. No, the competition is just one of the initiatives we have inside the community. Uh, More than or going beyond the competition, what do you get from the community? A lot of networking, a lot of job listings, um, getting free a lot of information, coaching, not only regarding entrepreneurship topics but also nutrition, life balance in general, no, mental health, wise drinking. Also get to talk with other peers from your industry. I'm going to Dubai to do a guest bartending. Can I stay at someone's home, or what bar do you recommend if I'm going to Guadalajara or to Buenos Aires or to Tokyo? So that networking is really nice, what we're building here in our community, supporting each other, and of course reaching not only top gurus or bartenders from the industry, the guys that have won the Altos Bartender of the World in the world's 50 best, talking directly to Dre, to a lot of people. So those are part of the benefits, and we're working beyond that also on more ideas on what do you get from being part of this community. So that's the competition. We have Jenny here. So we're super happy that our last version, this competition happens every 2 years, and our last version, the winners was Jenny from representing the project of Green Apple, based in Colombia. And before that, we have had 3 years, or three versions of this new competition where we have had three winners and super different categories, as I was explaining. Before this, we had amazing winners on the cocktail competition. No, some of them bartenders that actually at that time maybe they weren't that new. One of our winners is, for example, Jose Luis Leon from Livantour, very well-known guy. Kelsey Ramage actually was the last winner on the version. We did a cocktail competition just before she founded Trash Tiki Collective. Then we did a hard stop when I was telling you we start doing all of this work of understanding who was our best partner. And that first year, the winners were Mackenzie and Alex from Canada, from this project called Mind the Bar. More focused, as I was telling you, on mental health. They won, and with this money was they built this beautiful app, which of course is still very big in Canada, supporting 24/7 with psychological support for anxiety and depression, specifically for our industry. 2 years after, we had the beautiful project from La Mata in Cuba. David and Diana, if you've been to Cuba, there's a lot of things you struggle there in finding local products, international products, of course, worst. So they needed cordials in order for them and other bars and hotels of La Habana to be able to make cocktails. So actually, they with the machines they bought, now they have their own place where actually they produce more than 15 different cordials with different local fruits. And now they're selling it to the different hotels and restaurants in La Habana. And they host a lot of social events, also helping the community in Cuba. And last year was on 2023 was Green Apple from Colombia in Cartagena. I've been living and representing and managing Altos for many years, living in Mexico, but I'm actually Colombian. So this was it was a project that was very close to my heart, and I'm not going very deep on this because precisely we have Jenny from Green Apple to take you through the project, and Jenny is also going to tell you guys. How is the week, no, how is the experience on leaving the Tahona Society from the beginning, from the idea, from the coaching, and now leveraging where we are. And of course, we have also on the call Valerie. So Valerie, I was telling you that we needed the best partners in order to becoming this a reality. So Valerie is our official partner. At the beginning, Valerie is a Harvard Innovation Lab graduate, expert in this type of sustainability projects. So Val is actually the official coach for all of you guys. Having Val really taking you through the different homeworks from the day one since you become the winner of your country to the day one of coming to Mexico, to the global final. She's like your best coach. Like, if she's going to take you through all of the different aspects your idea need to comply in terms of finance, marketing, etc. So Val, thanks for all of this support that you has given us since the day one. um Dre is the heart of the Tahona Society. Valerie, of course, is the soul of it, of this competition. And together also, we're thinking who should be the judge of these guys? Because, I hate it when you go and present something, your pitch, and it's like the brand ambassador, or maybe a guy that knows how to make tequila really well, but it's not expert on that, who's judging you. So we partner up also with the TV producers of Shark Tank TV program. These guys are really tough. They really know how to judge and choose the best pitches. So they are actually the judges of this competition. It has been super fun, and also what we were telling you, this is really talking about going out, or when you feel comfortable. This is a competition. All of you probably are rock stars making a cocktail, and we applaud you all because it's not easy getting out of your comfort zone, going in front of a stage and presenting a pitch to Shark Tank TV programs judges. So to the ones that want to take the risk, it's gonna be an unforgettable experience, even if you don't win. But it has been great to see all of the feedback we have had on at least trying to change the game of the industry and really trying to give back. Um, so I'm going to leave now to Jenny before Val or Valerie. Who goes first? So yeah, so let's start with Jenny first, so she can take you through a little bit more on the Green Apple Foundation project, and then Val will let you know a little bit on the what's going on with our new app, how to register, how to participate. I'll stay here with you in case any doubt. So Jenny, welcome.
Thank you so much. So good to see your faces again. And really happy to be here. Hi, everybody. So, yeah, as Carlos said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the project, Fundación Green Apple, and our Zero Glass Waste project, and weave into that kind of story a little bit about what the experience has been like. Being part of the Tahona Society family. I count you as my family now. Even though the competition was back in 2023, I'm still in touch with many of you. And, whenever I need advice or I have a doubt or want to kind of, run by an idea, people like Valerie are always there to help me through. So one thing I would say about the Tahona Society competition is that it's not a flash in the pan. It really does have quite a life-changing effect, especially if you win. But even if you don't, some of the tools that you're going to come across and some of the classes that you're obviously a part of really do help kind of hone your business idea and coach you personally into what it's like to really try and, get a project off the ground or scale up a project, which is what it was in our case. So as I say, I'm going to talk a little bit about Cartagena. For those of you maybe who don't know Cartagena, it's a beautiful city in the Caribbean coast of Colombia. Here's a picture. You can see it's got wonderful colonial architecture, and then in the background, a lot of urban development, Miami style. It's very, very, very popular with tourists. And we receive, millions of tourists every single week, every single year. And some of the issues in terms of tourism is that, it's a very small city, it's surrounded by water, and that can really stretch kind of some of the infrastructure that you find in the city. And the result of that, in our case, is bad management of waste. So this is a photo taken from the island where Green Apple started. You can see the city in the background, but this is the reality for a lot of people in Cartagena. Those people who live on the island, some of the waste isn't their waste. It's washed up from the sea, but it's the infrastructure doesn't exist to deal with it. And it's very difficult to get it all collected. When this project started, there was zero waste collection on this island. It was called a forgotten island. And, you know, people had a lot of difficulties finding employment, even in the city, because the transport is limited and expensive. So the idea for Green Apple came from a small hotel beach club, which was setting up sort of 7 or 8 years ago. And when they set up the hotel, Portia Hart, she set down to realizing that everything that comes onto the island then has to be dealt with. And the amount of waste that there was, with no waste collection, what are we going to do with that waste? So luckily, a couple of guys turned up at her door and said, don't worry about it. We can deal with that waste. We'll take it away for you. Just pay us, you know, $100 a month and your problem goes away. So she did that. She thought, great, that's a wonderful solution. I've got other things to be dealing with right now. And 2 weeks after that, a gentleman came to her door and said, hey, why are you throwing all of your waste into my backyard? And she was like, no, I paid a couple of guys to take it all away, and they said that they would deal with it responsibly. And he was like, come with me. So she went over there and she saw that, yes, all of the waste from the hotel was indeed being thrown into an informal landfill just along the road from her hotel. So she was like, I have to do something about this. So put together an investigation to see what could be done with waste. And one of the results of this investigation was the realization that not only in the island, but also in the entire city of Cartagena, there was no way to recycle glass or food waste. And what do bars, hotels, and restaurants produce? A lot of drinks and a lot of meals. And so the biggest part of the waste that is generated is glass and food waste. So, okay, we'll start collecting some of these bottles. We're expanding the hotel. Let's integrate it into the design, and let's start using the resources that are around us to create some of the beautiful hotel rooms that you see here and the beautiful bathrooms that you see. Well, that was great for a little while, but every single day there are more cocktails, there are more beautiful meals, there's more food waste, there's more glass waste. So we had to come up with another solution. So we put ourselves to setting up a recycling company. The view was that potentially if we could recycle the glass waste and the food waste over at the hotel, we could make enough money not to pay these two guys to throw rubbish into an informal landfill, but to create a new job in the island for somebody from the island. And that person was Albert, who is pictured here on the right. 6 years later, he is now operational manager. So he started off literally just as a guy who would help to crush bottles. He'd never really even finished school, and he's now running a huge business. So that's one of the things that the foundation is trying to do. So we bought these machines, these crush glass into glass sand. These days, Albert is teaching not only tourists, but also, you know, big hotels and beach clubs how to replicate this model. Meanwhile, I was a volunteer who was traveling through Colombia for a month. And I joined to help them set up their composting systems because I'd done a little bit of composting in the past. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be here 7 years later, running the business that we're now running. But here I am. Fast forward a few years, and this is the pile of glass that we collect in just 3 or 4 weeks, every single week, every single month of every year. And we're converting all of this, not just into jobs, but into innovative projects and products as well. So the reason that Green Apple exists is, as I say, to create employment. So we've got some of our rising stars here who are not only transforming some of those waste materials, but now starting to link up with some of the best bars and restaurants, not only in Cartagena, but in the country. So these glasses that you can see on the far right in the corner, these glasses are made by the women that you see on the left, and they are in Solele, which is in the top restaurants in South America. They're in I think they're in the top 10 these days. So what we're really trying to do is unite the hospitality industry with local communities to focus around kind of, resources that sometimes are overlooked and create something cool with those resources. Some people have written some really nice things about us. How Cartagena's Forgotten Island kickstarted a recycling movement. I remember when I saw this back in 2023, this was before we won the Tahona Society competition. I'm someone who kind of likes to be behind the camera rather than in front of it. And I was like, oh, no, surely we haven't started a recycling movement. That's, that sounds amazing, considering what it is that we do every day. But, these days I can see that it is absolutely the case. So one of the things through the Tahona Society competition, if you get into the finals, there's some really cool tools around helping you to think through your business, think through how financially it might work, how operationally it might work, and then think about how to sell that idea. And so one of the things that I've always kept with me is Valerie really has helped us think about our financial model and helped us to hone that and change it over the years, to the point where now, when we started, there were informal recyclers who would take recycling away for free or for very little money and sell it on. These days, we've now got competitors who are trying to replicate the model that we set up. And so, it's a good idea if other people are trying to copy it. So thank you, Valerie and Tahona, for helping us become the pioneers that we are. So here, as well as part of the support that we've had over the last year or two, we've been able to buy new collection vehicles. So this is our new collection vehicle that goes around the historical town of Cartagena, collecting from 30 different businesses on a daily basis. We're now working with, last year we worked with 60 organizations in total, not just hospitality businesses, but also community groups, linking them together to create, cool projects together that some of these bars and restaurants want to sponsor, and starting to impact in some really fundamental ways how people have opportunities and some of the cool things that we can now do, which I'll tell you about in a second. So thinking about your idea, thinking about your business, it might be still at the very beginning, or you might have done some prototypes already. Green Apple now is what we would call kind of a mature social enterprise. And I can just tell you that if you have an idea and you really believe in it, as Dre says, think about what's your dream. Now, my dream was not, to run a recycling business, but my dream was certainly to work in sustainability on the Caribbean coast, surrounded by incredible people. And you do have some wonderful, wonderful moments. A childhood dream of mine is to hold a bloody big check and have my photo taken. And here I am at the Tahona Society with Jeffrey when we won the prize. It was an incredible dream come true. The reality is a little bit more like on the left. Any of you who run marathons know it can be bloody hard work. So, think about what is your passion, what drives you, and what is it that really is going to convince you to get up every day and fight for this dream and make it happen. Because a lot of what you're going to do if you're a pioneer trying to make change is going to feel like you're running a marathon or climbing up a bloody big hill, as I am in this picture. The other thing as well is that, don't forget you're trying to create change. You're trying to innovate in some way. This really resonated with me. Yoiseth is now head artisan. So she started off on a glass art course because some of the bottles wouldn't fit into the glass crushers. So we had to find another solution for them. And that was to create glasses and lamps and candles. So Yoiseth was one of the 10 people who was on that course. She's now running the Artisan Project. She's employed by the foundation. And as she says, it's given me new expectations and new dreams. And that is really, what it's all about. Cut to 2 weeks ago when Dre was here with us in Cartagena, and we were setting up this monster of an industrial glass recycling plant. It's finally set up. I think Valerie maybe hasn't even seen a picture of this, but the donation that we received from Tahona Society as a result of the competition means that we now have this wonderful recycling plant, which will give us capacity to recycle 2 tons an hour of glass. So, we were really, really happy that it coincided, despite a 1-year delay, that the setup of the plant coincided with just a few days when Dre was here in Cartagena with us. And he was actually one of the first people to put a bottle through this machine. And yes, it was an Altos bottle. So as I say, I love this quote. It inspires me every day. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And as I say, now that we've got competition biting at our heels, we're now thinking, okay, well, we created that new model, but how are we going to now create another model that makes the existing reality obsolete? So what's next for us? Well as crushing a huge amount of glass, what are we going to do with that glass waste? So on the left, this is a prototype of the material that we're going to be producing quite soon to create carbon neutral bricks for sustainable construction in the islands, and potentially in some of the communities in and around the city centre. So we'll be able to make not just houses, but also roads with this. So we're fundraising for that project and prototyping at the moment. Over on the right, inspired by a project in New Orleans, we're starting to work with some biologists and also a great organization called Ecovida, who live and work in one of the toughest barrios of Cartagena, right next to the Ciénaga de la Virgen, which is a huge lake stroke swamp. It's very, very at risk of flooding. A lot of the informal settlements over in this part of town are at risk of flooding. They've got a mangrove nursery, and we're starting to investigate how glass sand can be used in the mangrove nurseries to protect the land in and around Cartagena, and hopefully that will lead to being able to hopefully stop Cartagena from flooding in the years to come. And then over in the center, this wonderful group of people are from Orica Recicla, and they live on another island nearby where 15 hotels and beach clubs have been in touch with us, along with the local village council and this group here. And they want to create the first zero waste island in Colombia with our help. So we're hoping to run a 2-year project with them where we essentially teach them everything that we know about recycling and replicate the ecosystem that we know works, but on this island, in order to create stable employment for 4 or 5 people, help the village and the hotels to work together to solve a problem of waste and create, products that then they can use as well to protect their island while projecting, sustainable tourism. So that's what we're working on now. I want to talk about a couple of other projects that, are also linked to the bartending industry that are in also based in Cartagena. Cartagena is a small city, so everybody knows everybody. And sometimes that's a really good thing. So these guys here, these 3 guys, Vincent, Jose, and Juan David, they run Selva Gin. So Selva Gin is the mad idea that is the first London dry gin distilled in Colombia. As you guys will know, gin is not well known in Colombia, but here we have a gin that's being distilled just down the road from me. So why have I got Selva here on this presentation? Well, because one of the things to think about when you're setting up your new business is who are your team and who is helping you to craft ideas. And I really think that these 3 working together are a bit of a dream team. They're all so different, but each bring skills and passions to the party. So Vincent on the left used to be a bartender. He's now the distiller of the gin. He's also a writer and a designer and is really passionate about the environment. Jose or Chato in the center, he's a Colombian chef. And for him, what's really important is the provenance of ingredients. So all of the ingredients that go into Selva Gin, I think it's only some of the juniper berries that couldn't be sourced within Colombia, but they've actually adjusted the recipe to include ingredients like cacao and corozo, which are, fruits that are distinctly Colombian. And Juan David is a bartender, really, really social, and he's now in charge of distribution and marketing. So, think about your team, think about who can work with you and who can work with you in the long term. And as you move through developing your business, if you're any good, as I say, you probably have people biting at your heels. One of the things that happened to Selva Gin was that they had this bottle and a rival brand decided to buy up all of the bottles that they were using so that Selva could no longer bottle their gin in order to try to stop the competition, so to speak. But Selva saw it as an opportunity, and what they did was say, okay, well, we'll have to find a new bottle. They found a bottle which is even more beautiful and is made with recycled glass. And they also saw it as an opportunity to redesign the brand itself, pulling in inspiration from the magic realism of Colombia. And I think Dre mentioned B Corp earlier on. B Corp is a really, wonderful way of thinking about how to run a sustainable business. And the design team that ran this, that made this design, are a B Corp company themselves. Selva now work with us, so we collect some of the bottles from their different flagship bars. And then also, if there are any bars that they consider seconds not good enough for bottling, they come straight to the artisans to make candles. Eric here from Mirador, Dre mentioned, using ingredients from local communities. Eric set up a cooperative working with some of the farmers from Montes de Maria, which is very well known as a conflict zone close to Cartagena, in order to be able to create some wonderful cocktails. I'm working with now 4 or 5 different bars across Cartagena. These women here now have, have sustainable orders that are coming in week on week, and because it's from 5 different bars in the same city, they're sharing the transport costs, which mean that it really, really can last. And then the most recent is, sometimes think about your competition and how you can work together. If you're working in hospitality, especially in a tourism industry, tourists who come back to your city, or, people who are your fans, want to come to your restaurant, want to come to your bar, want to be ambassadors for your products. They're not just going to visit your hotel, your restaurant, or your bar. And so we're starting to work together with 30 different high-end restaurants, bars, and hotels in Cartagena, because there's been a lot of media focus on tourists looking for sex and drugs in the city. And it's really starting to kind of, lose its shine. And we're trying to highlight that actually there are still some really, really magical experiences within what is a lively, vibrant cultural city. So sometimes it's good to work with your competition, is all I'm saying. So my tips, if you're thinking about setting up a project with a social or environmental impact, is, create something necessary. That's something that Eric said to me. And you might think, well, is a cocktail something that's really necessary? I would argue that if your cocktail is using local ingredients and giving back to communities and the local economy, then yes, being able to enjoy that rather than enjoy something, from a huge brand that is importing, potentially is a better choice of consumerism. I've mentioned as well, think about your passion, your drive, pinpoint what drives your rebellious streak, because if you're going to make change, you really are going to have to break the rules at some point, not in an illegal way, but, you're trying to make change happen. So there has to be some rebelliousness in you to make you want to drive for that. Think about who's with you and think about who's really with you. As you're developing a business, a lot of people will say, wow, that's really cool, we want to work with you. A lot of people say that, not a lot of people follow up with, real, collaboration. One thing that you'll learn through the classes is, if you're trying to have a social and environmental impact, it's not just about the money, but the numbers really have to add up, because there is nothing more terrifying than not being able to make payroll at the end of the month. So really think about that. And so, together with that, don't underestimate the value of what it is that you're doing or the impact of that. Be super curious, talk to everybody, have an open heart to the ideas that you hear about. Ask people questions, and just take part in life. And as I say, context is super important if you want to scale. So Green Apple has been replicating its micro model, but we know that in the city we can scale up, and that's exactly what we're doing at the moment with the support from Tahona. So you guys are in a bit of a class. I leave here a few good things for you to look up, read, watch, and listen to. As I say, I've mentioned the financial model and the business canvas that is part of Tahona's competition resources. It's really helped me, in the years since we won the competition. I used it again recently for another funding bid, and it really helped me kind of hone my ideas really well. And then, 3 things here, which are all very hopeful. So, sometimes we can get a little bit bogged down and, oh, woe is me, the world is ending and we're in a bad place. There's actually a lot of really, really good stuff going on, and a lot of little projects that are changing the way that we run the world, even in just a small way. So these things are here for you to, yes, exactly, nerd out on. So do enjoy. And if at any point you want to get in touch with me about my experience with the Tahona Society competition, or about some of the things that we're doing, please do not hesitate to just give me a shout on Instagram.
Thank you so much, Jenny. So before we go, I really hope that after listening to Jenny, you are super inspired to apply to this year's Tahona Society competition. So let me go through how can you apply and what will be happening from here to the global final that we are expecting to have in September. So right now, the applications are already open. I'm going to go through exactly how you can apply, but you can apply from now to the end of April. So please be aware that the applications will close at the end of April, and that's it, because we are announcing the local winners in May 20th. So that means that we are going to choose one local winner per country, and we have different countries participating. So we are going to have a local winner per each one of the countries, and then after that we are going to start the coaching period. So from June to September, the idea is that myself and other great coaches help you to prepare for the global final. This is one of the things that Cha and Jenny were talking about, and this is like really nice resources for you to take your dream to the next level. And then the global final will be happening in September in a full week in Mexico with a lot of fun activities and really cool things. So one of the things that we have as a surprise for this year is that, as you have heard in this in this call, it's really important for us to give you education and a lot of resources so that you can start your dreams. So Tahona Society is not only about really nice tequila cocktails, but it's really about giving you something that you can use for advancing your careers. And that's why we created the first Tahona Society online community. So this is completely brand new. We just launched this last month. And the idea is that through this community, you can network and expand your expertise, size opportunities, find your balance, and all the different resources that we have talked about will be living here. So either if you are prepared to apply to the competition, or you are just thinking that maybe you would like to have a resource where you can find ways to improve your career, this is the place to go. So we have really nice things prepared for this community. We have a knowledge nook where you can find different resources from the industry so that you can nerd out like you were saying. We also are preparing a hospitality jobs hub where you can find all the positions that are open in the 50 best bars of the world. So that's also an amazing resource. We have also different resources for you to network in the community. And we have also expert talks. So the news here is that the competition application will be happening here, but also for all the people that will be applying from the US, our amazing partner is Lush Life and Portland Cocktail Week. So please, you can also apply directly to the application of Lush Life. We're going to add right now here the link to the application so that you can also apply directly. But also, please go to tahonasociety.com and then just click in the banner that says join the bartender online community. Then you can sign up. It's completely free and it's super easy to just sign up. You just have to put an email. You are going to receive a code in your email, and then you are in the platform where you can create your profile and just start seeing all the resources. So the cohort that Portland's Cocktail Week is happening also in this online community. The coaching from Tahona Society will be happening there. And of course, we are going to have different expert talks that will be amazing. So please go to the community and just take advantage of all the amazing resources that we are preparing for you. And as we said, the idea is that we help you create your dreams. So even if you have just a very rough idea of what you want to do, I believe that just getting into the resources and seeing how you can develop a business from your idea, I think it can be life-changing. So we are here to help you. There will be amazing coaches from other sides of the business, but also from the hospitality industry, and also, again, always helping you to also find balance in your career. And please just go and take advantage of this amazing community. So having said so, I think we're ready for the questions, Jen.
Thanks, Valerie. Yeah, I actually saw one really great question. Jenny, I see that you answered it in the chat, but just for the sake of the video, I'd love to revisit it. Nick Crutchfield asks, how much red tape or local bureaucracy did you have to go through with local government as a foreigner, Jenny? And was it difficult?
Yeah, so for the foundation, luckily we've avoided local bureaucracy because we work directly with bars, hotels, and restaurants. So essentially working with private businesses rather than government funding. Government here is quite bureaucratic and takes a long time to deal with. We're friends with them, but they haven't given us anything yet. I mean, in terms of being a foreigner, as I say, I arrived as a volunteer and then was lucky enough to get sponsored on a work visa. And Colombia being Colombia, I then fell in love and got married, and I'm now happily married and resident here. So that got rid of that red tape for me. The most difficult thing was learning Spanish, because when I arrived, I hardly spoke any Spanish whatsoever.
Great answer. Thank you. All right. Well, I just want to take a second to thank everyone, to thank our presenters. I think we lost Dre to a flight maybe, but Carlos, Jenny, Valerie, thank you all so much for presenting today. I was inspired. I hope all of our cohort attendees and everybody coming in live was as well. And of course, thank you to Altos Tequila. If you enjoyed this class, please hit the like or love button. Show some love in the comments. If you want to see more Portland Cocktail Week classes like this one, follow Portland Cocktail Week on Facebook. It's facebook.com/PDXCW or on YouTube at youtube.com/PDXCW. We are also at PDXCW and at Lush Life Productions on Instagram. And you can find out what is coming up next there. You can find out more information about Tahona Society at Tahona Society. And you can find the Tahona Society competition submission form at pdxcw.tahonasociety.com/competition or through the Tahona Society app, which you can sign up for at tahonasociety.com. Dre is on Instagram at Dre Masso. Carlos is at Carlos Andres Ramirez C. And you can find Jenny at Green Apple CTG or at Blue Apple Beach. I'm on the gram at Mescal Finds Jen. DM us to keep the tequila talk going. Tune in next Monday, March 3rd, when Valerie is going to be back to help us harness the power of design thinking to craft sustainable businesses and integrate sustainability into every aspect of a business model. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great week.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Jenny and Valerie, and contact us, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
See you soon. Bye.
Thank you.